So let's start this way. What do you make of the whole saga about the UTME exam, the results, the aftermaths, and the rescheduling and the reseating of the exam?
Well, it's a reflection of where we are in terms of technological development. We haven't, as a country, recognized that the world is not standing still and waiting for us to move at our pace. We are not yet globally competitive in this area. We don't own the computers we use, we don't make them. And we haven't made adequate effort to also produce the manpower that can enable us to use what other people have produced. And so that's where we got to where we are. Unfortunately, parents who are affected along with their children in this matter don't seem to understand exactly what the challenges are. I have had some parents in this news, say their children didn't have any problem in the last test. It's not about the challenges the children had in the CBT centers that is the reason why they are retaking the test. They are retaking the test because a service provider to JAMB did not upload the results in the way that that job was supposed to be done. So it wasn't a matter of the CBT centers didn't provide the space for the children to write the test. They wrote the test in many places seamlessly, but unfortunately, those who had the responsibility to upload the results to the server for the children to get credit for their efforts failed to do their job. So we're hoping that now that they have fewer people to grapple with, definitely, and given the opera, definitely everybody who has a role to play will be on guard and alert, making sure that they do the right things at the right time.
Okay, so you're talking about lack of manpower and also lack in technological development, but then some people say that JAMB had a year to prepare for the exam, and so the excuse of a system glitch is untenable. And I'm just asking, is that an act of gross negligence of duty on the part of the examination body? And maybe they should be penalized to prevent a recurrence.
Definitely, the problem we have experienced was avoidable. I agree with you. We should, however, know that JAMB is an organization that is operating within a larger system. So the problems of Nigeria definitely will have to affect JAMB. There's no way you live in Nigeria and Nigeria will not happen on you. So what happened here was that Nigeria happened on JAMB. The service provider who had the responsibility to upload the server, who is basically a contractor hired to be able to provide this service, couldn't deliver in the way that JAMB wanted it. And JAMB cannot take, total blame for what has happened. But the area where we blame probably them is the area where we expected them to have monitored adequately. And probably in the future, they should think about the possibility of making the people who have responsibility for uploading the result, because that's a critical stage in the examination process, to be internal members of the organization, not outsiders. The outsider is the person who has created this problem. If those people were employees of the organization who are paid globally competitive salaries, and then made to understand how critical this assignment is, other things being equal will not be where we are. So that's by way of recommendation. I think that we should start thinking along the lines of JAMB making a deliberate effort to hire the right type of people and pay them competitive salaries. I suspect that one of the reasons why they have not been able to get the right people into their system as employees is the fact that they are paying public service salary. And it's IT. The best brains in IT are people who can work anywhere in the world. And if you have to work in America and you can earn $200,000 in a year, why do you want to organization in Nigeria where they're offering you maybe 200,000 naira in a month when you can earn $200,000 in a year in America, in Germany, in other parts of the world with the same skills? You don't have to do anything else. So that's probably where the challenge is coming from. Let them work on that technology and probably consider the possibility of running CBT centers in pari passu with pen and paper exams, because it does look like insisting that they have to examine 2 million children within a very short period using computers. And these are children, most of whom were not trained with computers, and they have to grapple with this. And JAMB doesn't also own most of the CBT centers. And so they are working with a system they do not have absolute control over. So it's going to be difficult for them to continue to operate at this level. And nobody should start thinking that this can, be applied to WAEC and NECO WASC. And hope that we are going to get it right. It's going to be a very tough job for every one of us. So
JAMB is having an issue with pre-planning, planning, execution, and outcome, invariably all the stages. Now, do you think that even the UTME should be scrapped then, and tertiary institutions should instead be mandated to conduct internal exams for their candidates or probable candidates?
No, when you go that way, you create a bigger problem because JAMB is a child of necessity. JAMB came into existence to solve the problem of multiple admissions. So we have not always had JAMB. There was a time when universities had their own mechanisms for selecting, for recruiting students into their universities and for the courses they're on. But we discovered that a good number of candidates who are very smart will hold like 10 admissions, to different universities across the country, whereas several others will not even have one admission. To resolve that, a clearinghouse had to be established. So JAMB is a clearinghouse that prevents multiple admissions, so everybody gets only one admission, and leaving the rest of the spaces available for the rest of the candidates who are aspiring to go to university, to also get a shot at it. So the way forward is not to scrap JAMB, is to make JAMB deliver, is to give JAMB the right kind of money, fund them adequately, and make sure that they have the right technology, make sure that they also employ the right type of people who are paid competitive salaries. I'm underscoring that. The job that JAMB is doing is very sensitive, and it requires high-level manpower that the current salaries, the current compensation package in the public service cannot keep, cannot make them loyal. So you need to treat JAMB as a special organization, especially people who handle the test and measurement aspect of what they're doing, and those who handle the IT aspect of what they're doing. Those people should not be paid public service salary. They should be treated as if they are working for Microsoft and working for Facebook. And that way, you're able to get the right kind of people and keep them, in the system, loyal and delivering on the promise that JAMB, has given to all of us.
Okay, so let me just quickly chip this in. I mean, as an education researcher, are you satisfied with the level of education, with the standard of education in Nigeria?
Well, if you do my kind of job, you'll be able to make a distinction between standard and quality. What most of the time I hear is that standard is low. Standard here is not as low as people have assumed. What is low is quality. Standard is an aspiration where we should be. So in many senses, Nigeria is making some progress in terms of upgrading the standard across all levels of education. Where we are failing is in ensuring that we meet that standard. So quality is low, but standard is definitely improving. And the reason why we are not delivering with respect to quality is the fact that the teachers who are supposed to run the classrooms that will give children the right type of education are people who have not been given the right type of training. So they are not globally competitive. They don't know how to run effective classrooms that will make children look forward to going to school, classrooms that are engaging, classrooms that are not just run for people to cram things and return those things to you, classrooms that will make children understand, concepts that they can, use to compete at the global stage. That is where the challenge is. And then we haven't also been able to build and run properly laboratories that will get us compete in the science subjects, which is where the world is now. So if we want to become globally competitive and give you the right quality, we must ensure that we have the laboratories, we have the teachers who earn competitive salaries. Teachers in Nigeria are the dregs of society, and that's very unfortunate for us. They are not paid well, and that is what is making the best brains not aspire to go to university to study education. And until we are able to make it an honorable profession, a profession that pays good salary, a profession that is respected, a profession that is appreciated by government, a profession where teachers, are treated like proper human beings to society. Until we get to that stage, we will continue to grapple with quality issues.
Well, it's quite interesting that at this particular stage in the 21st century, we're still discussing the shortfalls in Nigeria's education system. Just, calls to question what the focus of the government is. But then, thank you so much, Peter Ogudoro, for sharing your thoughts with us.
It's my pleasure.